Hello guys, welcome to a new video. In this video, I'm gonna talk about why I switched back to a DSLR instead of a mirrorless camera, guys. So right now I am having this Canon 800D DSLR camera in my hand. This camera can shoot photos in 24 megapixel and the video in full HD 60 frame per second. It has a microphone input jack and it has a flip out touch screen, and also it has a famous Canon dual pixel autofocus technology. So guys, the first reason why I switched back to a DSLR instead of a mirrorless camera is that they are pretty cheap. Right now in 2022 you can get this DSLR very cheaply. For example, this one that I have right now, I got it for around 300 US dollar along with the kit lens, which is such a good price, because if you are looking for something similar in a mirrorless lineup, that would cost you at least the twice money. For example, if I compare this camera with the Canon M50, they have pretty much the same sensor, same ISO performance. That is also 24 megapixel. That is also having dual pixel autofocus. That is also having a flip out screen and also the microphone input jack. So virtually you can get the same video quality and also the same image quality from this camera that you can have with Canon M50, and that too at a much cheaper price, guys. And also this camera is much easier to hold, like in terms of photography. When I was trying to photograph with the M50, I did not like it that much. It had really tiny button. That was not a sort of camera made for photography, and if I had to go into something that is really good for photography in mirrorless lineup in case of Canon, I would have had to step up to Canon US RP, but that would cost me even more because the body alone is around 1000 US dollar, and this is a very cheap price. And for example, you can get the 50 mm lens for this very cheaply. You can get the 50 mm lens for like $100 for the DSLR, but if you want a 50 mm lens for the mirrorless lineup, that would cost you around 300 US dollar, so almost 3 times the price, and you would be getting pretty much the same low light performance and the same background blur that you would get with this camera as you would with a mirrorless camera as well, guys. Also, in case of Canon EOS M, there are not that many native glass, so you have to use an adapter if you want to use your DSLR lenses. And if you are using adapter, then it defeats the purpose of having a smaller form factor, and using the adapter the camera becomes pretty much the same size as the DSLR. And guys, these DSLR are also not that big. Actually this one is around 530 grams, and if you want to buy Canon 200D, that is even lighter, that is around 440 grams, and that camera also have dual pixel autofocus and it has a flip out screen and also a microphone input jack. So if you want a camera that can do like full HD video, you don't have to move to a mirrorless camera, guys. You can do that on a DSLR camera as well, guys. And for my requirement, I usually upload videos related to photography on YouTube, and also sometimes I record my guitar covers, and for that full HD video is more than enough. So I don't see a purpose in like investing in a much more expensive mirrorless camera just to get the video quality. And even with this DSLR I am able to get a very good quality because I am using a 50 mm f1.8 lens, so the image has really nice clarity, there is not much noise, and the ISO performance from this camera is also pretty damn good, guys. And later on in the post processing you can convert your full HD video into a 4K video as well, guys. If you want to talk about Canon M50 and Canon EOS RP, those camera can shoot 4K but with a crop factor, so they are pretty much like a full HD camera, and you can do full HD on this DSLR as well, guys. And this camera and the Canon M50 and the Canon EOS RP, all of them are having a dual pixel autofocus, so the video autofocus is gonna work almost the same in all of them. So the main thing why we want this autofocus is to keep our face in track, and no matter how much I move up and down, sideways, so this camera is gonna track my face. By the way, guys, right now I'm recording the video on Canon 200D, which is almost similar to this camera, but it is slightly lighter and it has a couple of less buttons, but in terms of sensor and the features it is pretty much the same as this one, guys. Another reason why I like the DSLR more is that the battery life is really awesome on a DSLR. I had used the mirrorless camera, but the battery used to run out like crazy. If I am recording a video, it would hardly last 1 hour video, and if I am doing photography, it won't be lasting more than like 250 shots, and if I am reviewing the images on my back LCD, then it would take even lesser photos. But in case of DSLR, if I have charged my battery fully, it will easily last for like couple of hours of video, and for photography, like it can take 600-700 shots easily, guys. Another reason why I like the DSLR is that the lenses are pretty damn cheap for that compared to the mirrorless. The 50mm lens, as I already told you, is almost 3 times the price of the 50mm lens that we can get for the DSLR. And if you want even slightly better lenses, they are even more expensive. The zoom lenses are very expensive, guys, and they are not that light either. If you are using them on your mirrorless system, your mirrorless system is no longer compact as was supposed to be the case with them. They were supposed to be, you know, smaller and lightweight and travel friendly, but that's no longer the case. Well, one advantage that you would get definitely with the mirrorless camera is that because they have a shorter flange distance, so you would be able to use all the older Canon, Nikon and all the vintage class. But with this Canon DSLR, you can use like the M42 lenses, but not that many lenses that you can use with this one. Maybe you can use some of the Pentax lenses, but for example, if you want to use the Canon FD lenses, you won't be able to use them on this DSLR, but you can use them on a mirrorless camera. But for me, I am personally not using that many of the vintage lenses. My purpose is solved even with this DSLR, and I use a 40mm f2.8 lens for Canon and 50mm f1.8 lens as well, both for photos and videos as well, and I get great results. And if I talk about the image quality, as I already told you, they have pretty much the similar kind of sensor. So the kind of image quality that you can get with mirrorless camera, you can get exactly the same or even better image with the DSLR as well. So just moving to mirrorless doesn't mean that you are gonna get better photos. You can get great photos even with this DSLR as well, guys. Another thing that I like about DSLR compared to the mirrorless is that, you know, there are so many options in them. For example, you have this eye tracking autofocus, which can lock onto a subject's eye and grab the focus. But personally for me, that's not always the use case. For example, if you are shooting a group of people, like there are like 5 people, and you are using the eye autofocus, so that will not cover the scenario, because in that case, you know, it will try to focus on the eye of the person who is closest in the frame, and maybe you want all of the person to be equally sharp in the frame. You want to focus on all of them. But with the DSLR as well, like you have the focus point, you can focus them on the eye as well and get a sharp photo as well. So pretty much I don't see like any use case where a mirrorless camera would benefit me. Maybe when I'm shooting at a very low aperture, like f1.2 or f1.4 for a portrait photo, maybe in that case it might benefit me. But usually I don't shoot at such a low aperture, even in a portrait photo. I mean the maximum aperture that I go is like 1.8 with a 50mm lens, and I am able to put the focus on the subject's eye even with a DSLR. So for me, like, that's not like one of the best use case that I see just to switch to mirrorless. And in case of video, as I already told you, since this camera had dual pixel autofocus, it always keeps me in focus. So my use case in video is also solved with this DSLR as well, guys. And the best thing, as I already told you, we can get them really cheaply. In less than $500 US, you can build a very good kit with this camera, along with the kit lens and couple of prime lens. In fact, in $400 you can get this camera along with a 50 mm f1.8 lens, and then you can get really good professional looking portrait photos, and you can do candid photography as well. You can use this camera for hobby photography, family photo shoots, making your own YouTube videos as well, guys. So you don't need to invest like thousands of dollars to get the latest and the greatest DSLR camera, guys. And another good thing is that even if you buy these camera used right now, they are not going to lose much value because they are already old and they are pretty cheap. So even after like few years, they would still pretty much hold on to their value. But if you buy like the latest mirrorless camera, so there will be another update next year of another better mirrorless camera, and there are like so much progress nowadays going on in the mirrorless world. So no matter how greatest or the latest mirrorless camera you buy, that would become old in a couple of years and it would lose the value. So if you buy like the latest mirrorless camera for like $2,000 right now, after a year maybe the value of that would be maybe just $1,000 or $1,500, or 2 or 3 years from now it might just be like $500. But these DSLR, if you buy this for like $300 now, even like 3 years from now it would still be like at least $200. You can sell this for like $200, and in like those 2-3 years you can use it for like great effects, for making videos, photos and whatnot. Alright guys, I hope you liked my video. If you liked my video, please like and share it, and if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please subscribe to the channel because I always keep on uploading such kind of videos. You can check camera reviews, lenses reviews, photography tutorials and these kind of talks on my channel.